Welcome to She Sells Radio. I have a solo episode for you today, and I am excited because it's been a minute since I've done one of these. And I want to share with you my takeaways, ahas, some of the biggest things that are shifting in my life right now, many of which are tied to, I'm going to share with you a bit of the behind the scenes of the event that we held 2 weeks ago today now, which was my mastermind retreat in Rosemary Beach, Florida, which was absolutely beautiful and had some really good shifts in consciousness happening with the attendees there. So I'm going to share with you some of what those were so you can apply them to your own life. And I'm also just going to weave in some ways that my consciousness has elevated and shifted recently too, and some things I'm really thinking about in my own life that are creating much greater and better results. So you can apply what you want from this to your own life too. So um, let's get into it. I've got three core takeaways from this event. And by the way, if we're not connected on social, go connect with me. I'm at Elise Archer. And on Instagram, I shared a lot of the behind the scenes of events and things that are going on. So you can see, and you can see some of the pictures of the home that we were at for this retreat. It was absolutely stunning. I'll talk more about it here in the show today, but you can also watch some of the behind the scenes adventures because there's just a lot of events coming up and exciting things going on that I want to share with you. And you can see things like us rescuing our RV from North Carolina and driving it home in the middle of the night, which is another story for another day, but shared behind the scenes of that on social. So let's make sure that we're connected on Instagram and on LinkedIn, which is where I tend to be the most. But let's talk about the event for today. And the first takeaway that I really got as the facilitator of this retreat is the power of flexibility and surrender to a greater level of good. So in our lives. And so let me share with you what that looked like here and then what the takeaways were for you. So going into this retreat, it was number one, when we do these retreats, and this is the second one like this that we've done, they are beautiful. So the home we rented was a $6.5 million home right on the water, like right on the ocean. You walk outside, you walk down, I think, past two other homes, and you're on the ocean. So you walk right out, go to the beach, go to the pier, stunningly beautiful home. We had some really beautiful experiences that we brought in as well for my mastermind members. So this retreat was for women who are members of the mastermind, for women who are already at the six-figure level, ready to go to multi-six or seven. So we work with women at that level in our mastermind and our higher level programs. And so I wanted to really just create different experiences for them that sometimes we can say, oh, well, even if you're making a decent amount of money, we can say, oh, that's too much, or who am I to do that? Or I was raised and taught not to use money that way, right? Like with scarcity consciousness. So we had a beautiful private chef dinner. We had a private yoga session one morning out by the private pool out back of this home. So it was really, really stunning. Go just check out social if you want to see some of the pictures. Cause I don't know about you. I could probably be an interior designer / realtor in another life. I love, I love homes and beautiful homes. So I care about the environment that we're in. So this home was really, really beautiful. But what was so interesting about this event and where I got to really learn and practice just surrender and everything is always happening exactly as it's supposed to be was we initially had 7 registered RSVP. And in the 48 hours leading up, 3 women weren't able to attend due to COVID, sickness, like last minute stuff that popped up. And so it was so interesting because we had planned for obviously still an intimate group, but we had planned for more. And I found out a lot of this as I was like literally driving to the home because we flew into Naples so that I could drop the boys off with my in-laws. By the boys, I mean all 3 of the boys, my hubby, Jason, and then our 2 sons. And then it was an 8.5-hour drive to Rosemary Beach. So I find a lot of this out while I'm driving. I'm like, well, here it is. So there's not much to do about it. Plus, the thing that I have learned I've been an entrepreneur, been in business for myself since 2015, but really 3 years, a little more than 3 years of running this brand. And I've learned so much running this company and this brand on my just at a bigger level than I've run things before in my life. And I have really learned to trust that the people who are there are the right people for that message and for that particular um, event scenario, and to take this and apply this to whatever you're doing. So whether you're listening and you're an entrepreneur, whether you're a sales professional, there's this delicate balance that we take when we're creating and when we're creating next level goals, this balance and this dance between intention and surrender. And so the intention piece is always about, I intend to serve at the highest level. I intend to be available for as many people as want to be part of something as it can come, et cetera. I intend X amount. So whatever the goal is, whatever the vision is, whatever the desire is, that's our intention, right? But if we grip that too hard and if we make it mean something, if things don't pan out the way that we set the intention for initially, then we miss the beauty, we miss the blessing, we miss the opportunity. So when I learned that three of the women were unable to make it last minute and had to make some of those shifts in terms of planning, and I'd planned out a whole, 2-day event on science of getting rich and teaching from that book because that's been a transformational book in my life, and I love teaching the concepts from it. But it was like, okay, how can I best serve and be there for the women who are showing up? And so we pivoted and we made it into more of like a semi-private small group intensive for the women who were there. And what was so beautiful to see was when we kicked off on the first day, it was like those women were supposed to be there. And I think if they're listening, they would probably say the same, that like just the commonalities, the synchronicities, the connections, and the ability to help each other in different ways because they're in different stages of life, but able to kind of complement where each other were. It was so powerful. And so I have just learned to be so surrendered to how can I be of service no matter who's there, how many are there, what it looks like versus what I had planned for slash intended, and to really be in the blessing of whatever is, right? And so when we have that belief, and this is such an important belief to establish and create in your life, everything is always working out for me. Everything is always working out for me. Everything is always working out for me. When we have that belief, then we are able to take whatever the scenario is. And if it's different from how we intended, and we still showed up and we did the things and we did our part, then we can kind of sit back and say, ooh, like there's something better here. There's something bigger here that's manifesting that I get to just co-create with. Like I get to be surrendered to this and I get to co-create. So it was a really powerful, beautiful experience. I had fun kind of scrapping the whole agenda I had. And aside from keeping certain things like, the chef dinner, the private chef dinner, the private yoga session, all of that, was really open to how the time was meant to be structured. And it was so beautiful how it flowed. And I think each woman there got a really immersive, like deep dive in what she was needing at the time. So that's the first thing that I took away and that I want to impart to you today is just the power of flexibility and the power of surrender and kind of that delicate dance that we all get to play every day of matching intention, that really crystal clear intention with an element of surrender. The second thing I want to share with you, and this is probably going to be the biggest teaching point for today, because I want to pull from both the retreat as well as something I was listening to this morning, is whew, it's about thinking bigger. It's about dropping guilt for wanting more. It's about an elevation in your self concept. And it's about questioning everything, every old paradigm and pattern that has been holding you back from what you really want. So it was really neat when we were in this home. There were pictures around the home of the owners. And everyone's a little different when they rent out their home. Some people, probably feel comfortable leaving pictures out. Other people don't. I don't know who these people were or are, but it was a young family, right? It was pictures of a young family. Now watch where your judgments go when I say that. Do your judgments go to, oh, they inherited the money, oh, this, oh, that? I don't know. I don't know the family. I don't know the family, but what I do know in my life now is I used to look at success of someone else and make excuses or have judgments like, oh, it was easy for them, or oh, this or oh, that. That's not how I roll now. I see, and this is actually how you know you're in alignment with what you want, is you see the success of someone else and you celebrate it. You say, wow, good for them. I see that now. I feel that when I look at other coaches, mentors, leaders in my industry who are like, any number of things that I'm also actively manifesting in my life, whether it's they're on the New York Times list, they've got thousands of people at their enrollment events, they're speaking on the big, big stages. I see that. I'm like, yes, go. I love it. And I used to not feel those feelings like gut instinct. I used to have to do a lot of self-talk to get myself there. I don't anymore. And it's beautiful. And that's actually how you know that you're in alignment with what you want. So side note there, and take a quick sip of coffee, then keep going. So I literally just splashed myself in my eye with my coffee. That was great. Okay. This is what you get on the solo episodes. So there are pictures of the owners in this home, and it's a young couple with, I can't remember, 2 or 3 kids, I want to say, and a really cute dog. The dog's name was, well, I'm not going to say the dog's, it doesn't matter. We knew the dog's name. But cute couple, cute kids, young. And one of the attendees there looked at the picture and she said, oh, that's so inspiring. She said, I could do that. And what was so cool about hearing her say that was, I don't know if she would have said that. She entered our mastermind about a year ago. I don't know. Maybe she would have said it. My guess is maybe not, about a year ago when she was first starting on this growth journey. But she looked at the picture and she said, oh, well, if they can do it, why can't I? And I thought, that is it. That is the energy that we want to be in, that manifests our goals at a bigger level. That's part of the power. And this is the third point. So I'll do a little preview, but I'll go deeper in a minute. The power of changing your environment and being in a different space. We get conditioned to things just being as they are around us. You're used to whatever the frequency is of your home, whatever the frequency is of your bank account, whatever the frequency is of your relationships, you get used to that. And unless you consciously shake it up and put yourself out of your comfort zone and do what it takes to get in a different environment, the women who were there for this event had early flights, like early, on the airplane at 5, 6 a.m. to be there. But guess what? They got uncomfortable. And one of the women even said, she was like, it was almost like everything was working against me to get there. She'd gotten like 2 or 3 hours of sleep every night leading up to the event. Kids were going through some stuff. One of the other women who was there who commented on this, she said, I've been traveling a lot lately, but like she still got herself there. So that's where sometimes we can make excuses and say, oh, it's not convenient. It's not convenient to get on an airplane. It's not convenient to buy a plane ticket. It's not convenient to invest the money in myself. It's not convenient. Well, guess what? What is convenient will keep you complacent. All right. That's, I've never thought about it that way before, but that's what's channeling for you this morning as I record this. So there you go. Whatever is convenient will keep you complacent. So if you want to elevate, if you are done with being complacent in where you are, then there are sacrifices that need to be made. We're always exchanging one thing for another, right? So the key is, I talked about this last week in a training I did for a really cool group of coaches. The key is, what are you sacrificing? This is the law of sacrifice. And we always want to be sacrificing something of a lower nature for something of a higher nature. So whenever you make a choice to attend an event, to get out of your comfort zone, to invest in yourself, you are trading everything else you could be doing at that moment with that time, or you're trading that money that's in your bank account or on the credit card for that experience. But the way you want to think about it is, I always want to be sacrificing something of a lower nature for something of a higher nature. So by getting on the airplane, by being willing to not sleep in, by being willing to show up, by being willing to invest in themselves, these women sacrifice some level of comfort that maybe they could have gotten from sleeping in or staying home, but they were able to get into an environment that they were like, this is the nicest home I've ever been in my life, right? This is the space, being able to be part of that private chef dinner, being poured into in a private yoga session, being poured into for me and the team. That was the elevation. They traded the other options they had available at that time for this. And so what we want to do is start to, and this is really my goal. I talk about this a lot with my mastermind. We work on this with our clients in the 10K club, with my private clients as well. But the thing I care about most for you, if you're going to transform, is we need to elevate and raise your level of consciousness. And to do that, it's critical and key to be in different environments, in different scenarios, amongst different people who are going to help you think differently, more abundantly, more prosperous, possibility focused for yourself. And that's what this was about. So when this attendee, when my mastermind member said, "Why not me?" I said, "Yes, you're there." So, so powerful. And so this is where I'm going to tie in something I was listening to this morning. So I haven't trained on this thing per se before. This is literally real time, me sharing with you kind of my gut reactions based on something I was listening to, but it was so powerful. And I heard this maybe just an hour ago, probably not even that, probably 30 minutes ago as I was driving into the house before recording this. And I want to share this with you. So I was listening to a Mind Valley summit that they did on manifesting yesterday. So as I record this in real time, they did this on Sunday the 17th, and Vision was talking about desire when manifesting our goals and the power of desire. And he read from Conversations with God, Neil Donald Walsh. This is the second book. I'm looking at it on my screen right now. And I'm going to read to you some of what was said, because as I listened to it, it didn't trigger me. It was interesting. It didn't trigger me, but it would have triggered me. Parts of this would have triggered me maybe even 6 months ago, a year ago. But I think this has been so part of my journey of my whole lifetime. It is, I'd say really a lot in the past year has been like an immersion into just massive elevations of consciousness. So I'm going to read to you part of what the book said. I'm going to tee it up with a quick story of something that another one of my mastermind members was sharing last week on our coaching call. And it was really beautiful to have this level of awareness. So she listens like every episode, so she'll know who she is. And I love you deeply when you're listening to this. I'm not going to give anything identifying. But this member of the mastermind is really at a point where she is ready for a far greater level of abundance in her life, which is where a lot of members come of our community when they come in here and when they join us. And if you are seeking a greater level of abundance, which you very possibly are because you're listening to this podcast, and yet there's something where it's not clicking, there's something where it's not happening, here's what I want you to know. It is not about the money on a surface level. All right. It is not about just working harder, getting greater financial acumen, doing more of the same. Although, can those things help? Yes, sometimes in a certain way. However, when you are like, I am ready, I want it, I desire it, I'm there, I'm doing the things, I'm taking the action, and yet there's something that's not budging in the financial scenario, in the sales, in the revenue, there is a deeper level that we want to tap into to figure out what the block is. There's some sort of a blockage. And a lot of times it's guilt. And a lot of times it's shame. And a lot of times it's old, worn out thinking that was drilled into you, maybe early on in life, maybe through, and I'm conscious when I say this. I'm a very spiritual person. Spirituality is now the most important part of my life. Didn't used to be. Most important part of my life. It guides everything I do. So when I say this, this is not about saying you need to believe or think any certain way, because you don't. I believe you need to follow your own path and your own calling and whatever speaks to you. What I will say is I have found in my own upbringing and also in a lot of the members of the community, what we were taught growing up on our spiritual path or in a religious institution was that there is glory in suffering, there is glory in scarcity, there is glory in not having enough, that you were meant to suffer and life is meant to be hard, and then you're meant to die, and then you go to heaven and everything is good. I do not believe that. I fundamentally do not believe that. I believe we have the opportunity every day to create heaven on earth or to create hell for ourselves. And it's all based on our level of consciousness. And so, what this member of the group was sharing and what I was coaching her on last week on our call was she came from a very conservative religious upbringing. And what was taught was, in essence, and I'm going to sum up kind of my takeaway from, she said, like, poverty is the path to heaven. Poverty is the path to being safe, and that having too much or being too seen or being too famous or being too known will send you straight to hell. And that you would be and this was her language, a devil child if you were too much in any of those departments. And so it is, of course, not surprising that now, as this woman has set a firm intention to bring in far greater prosperity and abundance in her life, that those old beliefs are rearing their head and saying, yeah, but what if I do this, if I'm too known, if I'm too famous, if I'm too seen, if I'm too successful, I'm going to hell. And of course, if that's the paradigm, if that's the conditioning, if that's the belief system, then of course you're not going to want to manifest abundance. Not at a, maybe on a conscious level you still will, but not on a subconscious level, not on the level of the part of the brain that is designed to keep you alive and safe. And so I coached her on some things to do. I coached her on what to examine, what to look at, some exercises she's going to be doing. But anything that tells you that you cannot be, do, or have what you want on a soul level is not truth. I want you to really hear that. It is not truth. And the sooner we can wake up to that, and the sooner we can raise our consciousness to that, and the sooner we can examine and become aware of the parts of us that we've been unaware of, that have just been running the program on default mode for decades for many of us, we can start to release the shackles that have been holding us back. And something I know and see, this is something I see on every single intake of every single member of our community. And even if you and I haven't connected directly yet, I venture to guess that this is something I would see on your intake if you were a member of our community, if you came into our programs, is that you want greater freedom in your life. And what I am aware of now is that freedom on a financial level, on a time level, on an opportunity level, what it boils down to is you also, and first, creating freedom for yourself on an emotional and a soul level. And then all the other things are made manifest from there. So with that little preview, I want to read to you some of what I was listening to this morning. And this is about desire and dropping guilt for wanting what you want in your life. This is Neil Donald Walsh, Conversations with God, the second book. It's not unlike the famous singer you all know, whom I will not name here, who receives millions of dollars for singing her songs. Asked to comment on her incredible success and the riches it has brought her, she said, "I feel almost guilty because I love doing this so much." The implication is clear. If it's something you love doing, you should not also be rewarded additionally with money. Most people earn money by doing something they hate, or something that is at least hard work, not endless joy. So the world's message is, if you feel negatively about it, then you can enjoy it. Think about that. Guilt is often used by you in your attempt to feel bad about something you feel good about. and thus reconcile yourself with God, who you think does not want you to feel good about anything. You are especially not to feel good about joys of the body, and absolutely not about, as your grandmother used to whisper, sex. Well, the good news is it's all right to love sex. It's also all right to love yourself. In fact, it's mandatory. What does not serve you is to become addicted to sex or anything else, but it is okay to fall in love with it. Practice saying this 10 times each day. I love sex. Practice saying this 10 times. I love money. Now, you want a really tough one? Try saying this 10 times. I love me. Here's some other things you were not supposed to love. Practice loving them. Power, glory, fame, success, winning. Want some more? Try these. You should really feel guilty if you love these. The adulation of others, being better, having more, knowing how, knowing why. Had enough? Wait. Here's the ultimate guilt. You should feel the ultimate guilt if you feel that you know God. Isn't this interesting? All through your life, you've been made to feel guilty about the things you want most. Yet I tell you this, love, love, love the things you desire, for your love of them draws them to you. These things are the stuff of life. When you love them, you love life. When you declare that you desire them, you announce that you choose all the good life has to offer. So choose sex, all the sex you can get, and choose power, all the power you can muster, and choose fame, all the fame you can attain, and choose success, all the success you can achieve, and choose winning, all the winning you can experience. Yet do not choose sex instead of love, but as a celebration of it. And do not choose power over, but power with. And do not choose fame as an end in itself, but as a means to a larger end. And do not choose success at the expense of others, but as a tool with which to assist others. And do not choose winning at any cost, but winning that costs others nothing and even brings them gain as well. Go ahead and choose the adulation of others, but see all others as beings upon which you can shower adulation, and do it. Go ahead and choose being better, but not being better than others, rather better than you were before. Go ahead and choose having more, but only so that you have more to give. And yes, choose knowing how and knowing why, so that you can share all knowledge with others. And by all means, choose to know God. In fact, choose this first, and all else will follow. There's more he says there, but I'm going to pause with that. So just notice with that, was there any part of you that was triggered? Was there any part of you where you felt an internal constriction when I said part of it? And if so, just get curious about it. What part? Was it the part about loving sex? Was it the part about loving power, loving money, loving fame? This is a concept I've been really playing with and having fun with. And I'm going to be teaching this at a live event next month, which I'll tell you about a little bit more in a moment here. But just this concept of fame. And what is the consciousness of someone who is so comfortable in the spotlight, who is so comfortable being seen and adored by others? I was just playing with the energy of Taylor Swift. And it's funny because I don't listen to a lot of her music, but my sister-in-law is such an awesome woman. She's going to Sweden this summer to go see Taylor Swift perform. And she was talking about the women in her. She works in financial services in New York City. And she was talking about the women in the office. A lot of them are going to, or I think at least one other, but they're all talking about it. They're literally flying to Sweden to see Taylor Swift perform. And so I started, I don't watch a lot of her stuff, but I started watching some of her videos on YouTube of her performing. And I was like, I just loved watching her energy and watching how in flow she was, being in the spotlight, being seen, being visible, how she was playing with the audience. It was such a co-creation in love. And I thought that is such a fun mindset and energy to play with, which is what must the consciousness be of a woman like that, or choose whoever it is who resonates with you, who you deem famous. Maybe it's a great spiritual teacher with a lot of followers. Maybe it's a great podcaster who you follow. Maybe it's someone in your industry who's speaking on the big stages that you want to speak on. Maybe it's Madonna, Beyonce, Oprah. I don't care. But they had to have a level of availability for fame in order for that to manifest. And I think so often, one of the other things I see from a lot of the members of our community who I coach is this fear of visibility piece. I tell you what, you can't have both. You can't have both. You can't have both. You can't have two masters, right? A fear of visibility, a fear of being seen, and be able to manifest success and notoriety and fame in your own way at the same time. And I think for those of us who are called to serve at a high level, and for those of us who are called to build platforms and have influence and impact the lives of many others with our work, which I feel called to do. And I'm not attached to what that looks like in my life. Do I have a vision for what I would love in terms of opportunities, in terms of influence? Yes. Do I have confidence that that will happen in my lifetime? Yes. And am I unattached to it? Yes. I care about showing up as the best version of me every day and serving every single person who I am privileged to speak to now. That's what I care about, is what I'm going to bring the energy now to every part of the platform that I have, that I feel it will be like to bring as the platform grows. And whatever that manifests into, I am grateful for. And there was also a part of myself that I got to do some deep inner work with that did have fear of visibility and did have fear of being seen. And when I was in that kind of limbo, stuck between the desire for more and also the fear of punishment, the fear of wrath, the fear of shade being thrown my way, right? The fear of not doing it well enough, the fear of being made wrong. I got to do the work on that. And I am so clear now on it's like I am one with God in this, and I'm going to use my language, you use your language of what works. I am one with God. I am one with my highest self. I am one with I want to live my best and highest potential. I want to create the best and highest life I can create in this lifetime. I want to be the best Elise Archer I can be. And what is that like? What is that fullest expression of me? And who is she? And letting myself go all out in my mind in terms of what does that look like from a financial level, from a fame level, from an impact level, from a giving level, from a love level, from a health level, from a lifestyle level. And then letting that come together in the most perfect way, doing my part, and then also trusting that the divine is doing this with me, because it is of great service to the world for each of us to show up at our best and highest, and to drop that old worn out paradigm of the fear of visibility, the fear of being seen, where we're like, oh, it's safer to play it small. It's safer to suppress. It's safer to cover up with layers, whether it's avoidance, whether it's extra pounds, whether it's fear, procrastination. We cover it up. We cover up our desires with these things. And when we can drop the old paradigms that somehow there is glory in staying small, that there is glory in not having enough, that's how we get to heaven, that's how we're good. None of that is true, my friend. When we can drop that and realize that it is up to us every day and to create what our highest and best expression looks like. And to me, I think about what are the attributes of God, of source, of universe that I want to instill in my life? Radical abundance, beauty, love, joy, expansion, giving, generosity, service. So when I can play with those elements every day and stop and shift the consciousness to how can I be more of that rather than the same old cage of limiting beliefs every day. That's when life gets exciting. That's when things manifest. That's when you can look at a picture of a family of people your age who own a $6.5 million home and you're not there yet in your physical 3D world, but you want something like that. You can say yes to that. That is inspiring. Let me think about how they must think. Let me tap into more of the frequency of that. Let me get more in the environment of up-leveled thinking like that. That's how you know you're on the way, is you can see it and you can celebrate it. So that was kind of the second and third wrapped into the same. So the second point there, the second thing that I wanted to share here was just thinking bigger for yourself. And then the third is, and we're going to wrap with this because I already really spoke to it, but getting yourself in environments where you do think differently. And I think getting yourself in environments that the version of you at the next level result accomplished would be in, whether that's a masterminds of a certain level, whether that's homes, like touring homes of a certain level, whether that's events, whether it's communities, but you have to shift your consciousness. You need to get yourself in a different space. We absorb what's around us, right? So I'm leaving tomorrow morning to head to New York City to actually speak at a 2-day event with some really high-powered, cool women in finance. One of them, I'm super honored to be speaking with Sally Krawcheck, the founder of Elvest. So I'm excited to meet her in person and an honor to share a stage with her. But when I'm there, even though I'm teaching, I also am like, I want to be in the consciousness of other women playing at a high level. I want to learn how they think. I want to learn how they see. All these women are financial services, advisors, investors. Like, how do they think? I want to learn that. I want to pick up on more of that. So I'm excited to be there. But there's just so much power in getting yourself in the room with people who are operating at the frequency you want to be at and or who are consciously working on ascending themselves to that level, because it is from your level of consciousness and your belief system that every result manifests in your life. It all boils down to what you believe about yourself and what you believe to be true. So with that, 2 ways we can go deeper into this if you would like to go deeper. And you may listen to this episode and say, whew, that was good. Like, that was good. I'm taking this and running with this. Good. That's fine. If you want to go deeper and have support in actually implementing this in your life and not just knowing it intellectually, because what happens is we learn this and we hear it and we're like, oh, that's good. I'm going to go change. Well, guess what? Not if you don't actually apply it. Not if you don't have some sort of a decision with implementation and action of this is happening. Not if you don't get yourself uncomfortable. If you hear this and you say, oh, this is good, Elise, and then you go back to exactly what you were doing before, you're kidding yourself. So the opportunity is, if you are hearing this and you're like, I do need to change some areas of life. There are some things from what Elise read today that triggered me. There are some things where I see I'm judging my desire for more. There are some things where I see I'm playing it small. I'm staying in the same environment. I'm not pushing myself. I'm not stretching. And there's a deep soul desire for more. Then I want you to come get in the room with me. 2 different ways you can do that right now. One, come apply for my mastermind. We've got an incredible mastermind for women who are already performing at a high level in their lives. And we the way that we structure this group is, this is for women who are already at the 6-figure level, or already at 10K months. You can be in sales, you can be an entrepreneur, doesn't matter. But if you want to ascend, if you want to go to the next level, if you want to raise in your consciousness this year and quantum leap in ways you did not know were possible, then I want you to go check it out and apply. if it speaks to you. It's elisearcher.com/50K club. And then the second opportunity is I am hosting a live event. First one I've done here in Portland, Maine. It's April 9th and 10th. This one is open to everybody. It's called Mind Over Matter. It's not the mind over matter that you have heard, which is like, oh, just push through. Doesn't matter how you feel. What I mean by this is actually the first quadrant. We teach 4 different quadrants of quantum sales growth in our curriculum. This is the first quadrant of quantum sales growth. And this is neuroscience. This is quantum physics. This is literally your mind and how it determines your physical 3D reality. So if you like what I talked about here on the podcast today, and you're ready for a blueprint of how do you manifest your most mind-blowing career success, financial success, life success in 2024 and beyond, you want to come be there with me and with the other incredible women who are going to be there at this event. So you can check that one out, elisearcher.com/mindovermatterlive. We have tickets still available for this, and I want you to come get yourself in the room. Again, doesn't matter if it's convenient. If you're serious about this, if you're committed, then it's not about, is it convenient? It's about what level of transformation are you available for, and applying that law of sacrifice, right? Will you need to invest time in this? Yes. Will you need to invest money in this? Yes. And the question I always ask when I'm investing is, am I worth it? Right. And I know now, yes, whatever I want to invest in for myself, it's like, yes, I am worth it. Yes. But I had to shift that consciousness first. So you look at it and say, well, how much do I care about elevating my life? How much do I care about not living the same old every single day? And instead, I'm ready for a new blueprint. I'm ready to get clear on blocks, things I wasn't even aware of that were holding me back. I'm ready to open up to that next highest, most abundant, most successful, most powerful, most famous, happiest, most generous, most impactful version of me. You want to come get in the room with us. So that's elisearcher.com/mindovermatterlive. Yes, it is happening the day after the eclipse. I've had some people ask about that. There's going to be powerful, and that wasn't the intention behind when I scheduled it for, but there's no coincidences. So I think we're going to harness some of that powerful energy. If you want to come get here to Maine a day or early, because I know there's been some members of our community who are like, I want to see the eclipse. I think you're going to be able to see it from where we are. So there's that too. And it's going to be really beautiful. So whichever of those opportunities is resonating with you, whether it's the mastermind, and if you are part of the mastermind, you get a free event ticket to this event, or you want to come just join us at the event, we'd love to have you. So those are my, those are the opportunities, the options for how you can go deeper in this. As always, so grateful to have you as a listener, so grateful to have the opportunity to speak from my heart to yours today. I trust and hope that this resonated. I do trust that it resonated with you, and would love to hear on social, what was your biggest takeaway? What are you taking with us and applying to your life to open up to more today? Because it's not just about you, it's about everyone around you. And when you open up to that fullest, that greatest expression of you, you have no idea the impact you're having on everyone around you as well. You help everyone around you rise as well. So until next time, thank you as always for being a listener of She Sells Radio, and I'll see you on our next episode. Bye for now.